because this might be the inner chronicle of what we are. And we have to articulate ourselves, otherwise we would be cows in a field.
Dun, 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 dun,
Okay.
dun. So just
I hate
imagine.
that.
Dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun, dun, dun,
Why?
dun, dun,
Why is
dun,
it
dun,
Rocky?
dun, dun,
We're not going to
dun,
fight
dun,
anybody.
dun, dun, dun.
Not running up some
Dun,
stairs.
dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Are you just going to play your version of
Dun, dun, dun. Welcome to the Blobscars. Dun, 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 dun.
Super
Dun, dun, dun,
embarrassing.
dun, dun. It's the 2022 Blobscars. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so that's the intro song for the 2022 Blobscars. This is the first annual Blobscars. It's our, here at Cows in the Field, it's our awards ceremony for the films of 2021. We'll talk a little bit about ones we didn't like. We'll give you some recommendations for things to check out if you want to check out something that's not just the Oscar stuff. Because there'll be some Oscars talk here, but we're not interested in the Oscars that much. So
No.
it's mostly going to be just movies we liked and why we liked them. I should also just say, this episode, everything will be spoiler free. We don't assume you've seen any of these movies. The goal would be to try to convince you to watch some of them. I don't know. It could be fun. We're going to see. We've never done it before. My name is Justin.
I'm Laura.
And this is Cows in the Field, the first annual Blobscars. So kicking off for the first award of the night.
Wait, you need to tell the rules.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. I should say.
You need to talk about your draconian nonsense rules that make me so angry every year. We do this. We've been doing this personally for a while.
Yeah, we've been doing the Blobscars for a while, and the rules for the Blobscars are very specific. So there are 7 categories in the Blobscars. And
There's like 9.
Well, then there's these other sort of pseudo categories that we're going to get to.
Gotcha.
Of the 7 official categories,
Okay.
Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, and there's no gender. We don't recognize gendered categories in Blobscars, so you can pick 2 actors and 2 supporting actors. Best Writing, Best Score, and Best Scene. So those are the 7 categories. And the number one rule for the Oscars, the Blobscars, is that every film can only win at most once. So that is if you thought that West Side Story should win for supporting actor, well, you can't have West Side Story win for Best Picture.
Mm-mm.
That's out. So you got to be really choosy, and it encourages you to spread the wealth a little bit. We want to really talk about a wide range of movies, not just say, okay, like in the Oscars, when one movie wins everything, it's not going to be like that. That's ruled out. So with that in mind, remember, we're talking about films that were released theatrically in 2021. We're going to start off with Best Supporting Actor. Okay, so Best Supporting Actor. Now you get to choose 2 people in this. And let's go back and forth and just throw some nominees out before we get to our winners. Okay.
Okay.
So,
weirdly, this one is the one I had the most trouble with.
Okay.
Or not the most trouble with, but it's not as stacked as Best Actor.
Okay. Well, give me a couple nominees.
All
people
right.
who did not win for you, but who you would like to nominate.
Sure. Jessie Buckley, Lost Daughter. Just hating her kids so hard.
Yeah, that one rang true to me. So The Lost Daughter. Let's talk a little bit about The Lost, just to mention. So we're mentioning Lost Daughter. This is a movie directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, and it's about a woman named Lita, played by Olivia Colman when she's older, and Jessie Buckley when she's younger in flashbacks. She's going on vacation in Greece, and she's having some troubles or reckoning with her past experience, fractured relationship with her daughters.
Yep.
And she's an academic.
Yes.
And I also have Jessie Buckley as supporting actor. I thought she was fantastic.
Yeah, you really. She just sort of sighs heavily when her little girl is like brushing her hair with the doll brush. You're just like, yep. I feel that.
Yep.
I feel that. She's questioning her choices.
Don't hit Mama. You can never ever do that. Do you understand?
Can
Out.
no.
Out.
No. Get off me!
15 more minutes.
Down.
I don't want to see you right now. I don't want to see you right now.
All right, you go again. Give me another.
Why am I
supporting
going
actor.
twice?
Because I'll give a new one. So I'm seconding Jessie Buckley. Did not win for me, but
Not
a
for me
fantastic
either.
supporting actor. Loved her.
All
in
right, well,
this.
this is a silly one, and I almost hate to give it because Jared Leto is, he's Jared Leto. But House of Gucci, Jared Leto, he's
Jared
going
Leto.
hard.
So House of Gucci, what's that one about?
I mean, how do you even describe? There's a woman who
It's
is
about
not
the
a
Gucci
Gucci
family.
and she marries into the Gucci family and infiltrates the Gucci family. Almost has it all, but then maybe doesn't.
Yeah, and there's various generations of Gucci represented. You've got Pacino,
Mhm.
you've got Jeremy Irons, you have Adam Driver
Mhm.
as the main Gucci in this case,
Yep.
Maurizio, and then Jared Leto is
It's got
playing.
fashion. It's got family drama. It's got backstabbing. It's got insane Italian accents in the case of Jared Leto.
Jared Leto. I also have Jared Leto as a nom, and I
Okay.
love him in this as Paolo Gucci.
Paolo.
And it's just wonderful. We'll play a clip of this is for when each person gets their like clip, right? Here's Paolo Gucci's clip.
Maurizio likes you. He always has.
Well, I like my cousin too. He's quiet, like a little moose, a tiny little moose. He doesn't scream like the others.
No, he doesn't. And you and Maurizio together, that would be amazing. That's a new chapter for Gucci.
No. My father, he would never allow it. He's got my little peaches in a very tight grip.
Okay, that was great. So, all right. So I'm seconding that. So why don't you go again?
Sure. Susanna's son, Red Rocket.
Okay. I also have Susanna's son.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, all right.
You and I are on the same page.
All right. So so what's Red Rocket about and who does she play?
Okay. Red Rocket is about a aging porn star who heads back, he's in trouble and he's headed back to his hometown where they don't like him very much. He's going to go shack up with his ex-wife.
No, his wife.
His wife.
Estranged wife.
Estranged wife. And try to get back on his feet. And then he meets 17-year-old Strawberry. And
that's Susanna San.
That's Susanna San. He thinks this is his ticket back to the biz.
I'm doing this tonight. You're probably gonna start a fire.
What's your name?
Everybody calls me Strawberry.
You're like an extraterrestrial around here.
Don't fuck with me.
Not.
I loved you.
Where were you?
This cute little town called None of Your Fucking Business, Texas.
Hope you had a good fucking time.
Now it's time to leave.
I think it's cool. You just said, fuck it. I'm gonna get paid for doing the thing I love most. And as long as you're not hurting anybody, you do you, man.
Yeah, Red Rocket, directed by Sean Baker. I think very high for both of us this year.
Oh, yeah.
We really loved Red Rocket. We'll talk more about Red Rocket, but yeah, Susanna sounds great. And turns out she's not a professional actress, right? It's like her first film.
I think so.
Yeah, I think this is very...
Sean Baker just saw her outside of a screening of They Won't Get Far on Foot, or He Won't Get Far on Foot, the Gus Van Sant movie.
Yeah, amazing. And she's super magnetic. Like, she's super charming.
I think she's had training in like musical theater and singing, and that's why she does an NSYNC cover in that film. That's quite lovely.
It's wonderful. Wonderful. Great picks.
Do you want me to go again?
Yeah, go again.
All right.
I think we're gonna get to some stuff where we don't.
So
agree.
I'm going through all the people that I didn't give it to. Right?
Yeah, I agree.
All
I'm
right.
with you.
Willem Dafoe, Nightmare Alley.
I also have Willem Dafoe on my list. I love Willem Dafoe.
Is it for Nightmare Alley?
Yeah,
or is it
for Nightmare Alley.
Okay. I was like, am I going to give it to Willem Dafoe because he's in 3 movies that are on the docket this year, right? He's in French Dispatch, I'm assuming. I can't even remember.
Is he? I don't actually know. But yeah, he's in Card Counter.
Yeah, isn't he in The Cage and French Dispatch?
Okay. Yeah, I can't remember.
And then he's in Card Counter.
He is in The
course.
Cage. He is Albert the Abacus.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But he's, I never really dislike Willem Dafoe, but I feel like Nightmare Alley didn't really resonate with me. It's not on not any of these other categories for me. It was fine. I just didn't connect with it. But Willem Dafoe was a standout for me.
I think, let's actually then use this opportunity just to talk briefly about Nightmare Alley, because I think it's not going to show up anywhere else for us.
No, not for me.
Directed by Guillermo del Toro. I was quite surprised I enjoyed the movie. I think I did quite enjoy the movie.
You went in with very low expectations, though, because you're not...
Very low expectations. I haven't really liked a Guillermo del Toro movie, maybe ever, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's a morality tale. It's about the exploitation or the sort of temptation of exploitation and the effect of evil in corrupting a person's soul. In this case, the character played by Bradley Cooper. And Willem Dafoe plays this guy, a kind of madman, lunatic guy named Clem, who... he just has a kind of insane charm, not charm, but like an sort of insane energy. And his whole role, so what's going on in this movie is it's a carnival. It's like a traveling carnival show. And they have different things. They've got mentalists. They have a lady who gets electrocuted. They have a strong man. And then they have these people called geeks, who are basically half man, half beasts type creatures. But we learn basically they're just strung out homeless people who've been made to become addicted to basically opium, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put into withdrawal and then made to debase themselves. And it's all, in the service of this show for the audience. And Willem Dafoe has this wonderful scene where he explains how the geek is made.
How you break a person.
Yeah. And it's really, really dark. And also, just because it's Willem Dafoe, he has this wonderful crackly voice and it just comes through. I think he's the best part of that movie. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Every time he's on screen, he's just like, he has, and I've actually, I don't know if you've ever been to like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, or like in my case, one of those sort of like medieval carnivals things where you do go into like a dark room with curtains and they just show you a bunch of jars of stuff.
Yeah.
Remember like seeing like a mermaid, right? They like just took, I don't know, a tail of something and added it onto a body of something else and stitched it together and it was a mermaid. Anyway, but Willem Dafoe has all of these.
He has a bunch of this. What's the one? Enoch?
Jars.
Baby Enoch?
Yeah, baby
It's got an Enoch. It's like a baby. It's like a giant bloated
with
baby
one eye.
With one eye, yeah. That's been pickled.
Yeah, and he's just so proud of these things. He's just like taking Bradley Cooper around being like, these are my babies, essentially.
He's just a wonderful actor. I'm so glad he's been in all kinds of stuff this year because he's always a highlight. So yes, a second Willem Dafoe Nightmare Alley.
How do you ever get a guy to geek?
Oh, I ain't gonna crap you up. It ain't easy. You gotta pick up a broken drunk, a real alky, a 2-bottle-a-day full seat.
Pick him up from where?
Nightmare alleys, train tracks, flap houses, you name it. A lot of folks came back from the war addicted to the poppy, to booze. Now, opium really sinks its claws, but you reel them in with booze. You tell them, I got a little job for you. It's a temporary job. Make sure you emphasize that. Just temporary until we get ourselves another geek. You spike it with that opium tincture. 1 drop per bottle. That's all. But now, this is what he thinks is heaven. So, you say to him like this, you say to him, well, I gotta get me a real geek. He says, ain't I doing okay? You say, like crap, you're doing okay. You can't draw a real crowd faking a geek, you're through. And you walk off. Now, that night, you drag out the lecture, you lay it on thick. All the while you're talking, he's thinking about sobering up, getting the crawling shakes, screaming, terrors. You give him time to think that over while you're talking. Then you throw him the chicken. He'll geek.
Well, go again.
All right. I only have one left
I've got some more then.
before I get to my actual winners. Cody Smith-McPhee, Power of the Dog.
Okay, very good. I don't actually have him down, but Cody Smith-McPhee, very good. Yeah, very good performance.
I did not actually realize he's the kid from Let Me In. the American version. Yep, he is haunting and strange and uncomfortable at times, and also magnetic. I think it's a good performance.
I suspect we're going to talk more about Power of the Dog, so let's pause. We'll come back to Power of the Dog and his role in it. Let me give you a couple other noms before we get to the winners.
Sure.
So I have Baby Annette.
I knew you were going to go Baby Annette. You mean the actress or the puppet?
The puppet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the puppet.
Straight up.
The
yeah.
actress is great too, but
she's
a very supporting role. The puppet Baby Annette is great. We'll talk about Annette more later. I have Ben Affleck in The Last Duel.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, Last Duel is shocking. Does not appear in any of my nominations.
Oh, come on.
Okay, so you're going Affleck. Is that because you think Damon is a lead or supporting?
I think of Damon as a lead, but I don't have Damon in there. So
I'm just wondering. So you pick out of all those performances, like you feel like Affleck is the one who's really hitting it out of the park.
Here's why. I really think that I mean Driver and Damon. So by the way, let's just say Last Duel is this kind of underseen Ridley Scott movie. I mean, come on, it was barely nobody watched it in theaters, so that's underseen.
Calm down.
Period piece about the bunch of dudes. You got Driver, Affleck, and then you've got Damon. And then there's one woman played by Jodie Comer. And she's sort of in the middle between these dudes. It's a kind of he said, she said rape story told from 3 different perspectives, written by 3 different individuals. And I think that, Driver is great, but Driver's sort of phoning it in. I get the sense Driver's saving something for what he's going to do in these other movies.
For Gucci,
but also for
Annette. I know Annette is his performance of the year for sure.
And Damon is being, Matt Damon's doing his best. Like
he's so punchable,
slimy, douchebag.
He loves to be in that zone. You can feel it.
He loves it. And then what I liked about Affleck in this is that he's leaning into something that I don't think he's leaned in this hard before, of just being a smarmy, enabling asshole. And he's such a, they're all playing it like they're basically transposed from the 20th century. And it works, for me at least, it works really well. And he's sporting a great haircut with the dye.
Best hair.
Yeah, he's got like the dye.
He's like a medieval Eminem.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's great, but that's only a nom for me. So I've got Affleck as in Last Duel.
The common mind has no capacity for this sort of nuance. They simply don't understand the world as we do. These villains and heroes, that is all.
My lord.
Deny, deny, deny. Everywhere, always, at all times, and to all men. You did not commit adultery. It never happened. There is no proof. It will always be your word against that of Jean de Carouge.
Yes, my lord.
Of course, we have to endure a public trial. Charges of rape will be brought against you, and a verdict will be rendered by your overlord, adjudicating this matter, who, as the fates would have it, happens to be me.
I've also got Troy Kotsur, Coda.
Okay.
Who is nominated for Best Supporting Actor at the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Coda separately, but Coda is a movie about a young woman who is a child of deaf parents.
She's the only hearing
person in the family. Yeah. And Troy Kotsur and Marlee Matlin are the parents. And then Emilia Jones is the kid. And Troy Kotsur, I think he was fantastic. He has that big emotional moment with her at the end. And I think that's the reason he's nominated. And for me, I thought it was a really nice performance. And so I have him. And then the other one I have as a nom is Vincent Lindon in Titan. So he plays
I thought about that one too.
Yeah. Yep. So he plays the muscly, aging firefighter sort of father figure.
Just putting drugs in his butt.
Yeah. He's doing a lot of steroids and he's trying to do pull-ups. And he's looking real leathery. But I really did love the performance because it's such an uplifting performance.
Yeah.
He's so open and genuine and I don't want to say too much about Titan. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but it's in a way an adoption story, and he's the father who's doing the adopting, and it's just a really wonderful ray of sunshine in an otherwise very violent and bleak movie in some respects. And so Titan, loved it. We'll talk more about that in a second. All right, so those were my noms. So who give me your first winner for supporting actor.
Okay. Catherine Hunter, Macbeth.
A drum. A drum. Macbeth doth come. Aye. In a sieve I'll do the sail. And like a rat without a tail, I'll do, and I'll do. I'll drain him, dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live, a man forbid. Weary Sir Knights, 9 times 9, shall he dwindle, peak, and pine.
Come on. Are you kidding me? I also gave it to Catherine Hunter. All right, so tell me about why you gave it to Catherine Hunter.
We should have talked about this
No,
beforehand.
we didn't talk about it.
We
so
didn't. Okay. So Macbeth, I'm going to be fully honest with Macbeth. I was sleepy. So I think I dozed in and out of Macbeth. But anytime Catherine Hunter was on screen, I was like alert and awake and locked in.
Who does she play?
She plays the witches, all 3 of them. And she is doing incredible things with her body and her voice. She's like contorting herself in order to play the 3 different witches at once and using different voices. And it's she's a very famous stage actress, as I later found out. I only knew her as like, Mrs. Fig from the Harry Potter movies. It doesn't do as much film work. But I thought she was just like absolutely amazing and really honestly made Macbeth for me.
I agree. I just agree with everything you say here, and I don't think I have anything to add. I think it's an unbelievable performance.
It's incredible.
That does make the movie because it creates it because she's like I think the first thing you see in the movie almost, and it immediately announces the tone of this movie is going to be crazy ass weird. And once you are in that zone, you're like, whoa, this is where this is going to go. I'm into it. Like I think without her performance, the movie is a staid.
It loses a lot of ambiance.
Yeah,
it becomes
it just looks like a stage thing with a bunch of sets
instead of cinematic.
Yeah, and I think with her there doing the strange, unusual mix of contortion and voice work that she's doing, it's sort of indescribable. So we'll play a clip here, but it's just great.
I spoke with some people who were, talking about the various plays turned into movies this year. And they were saying, they would go to West Side Story over Macbeth just because they're not in the space to watch something depressing. And my response to that was just like, well, when you're ready for it, it's worth it just for the witches. It's just for Catherine Hunter.
Yeah. If you just watch her parts on YouTube, you might be good.
That might satisfy you. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to give my other nom now because
do you think it's going to be the same?
It might be.
Uh-oh.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. I'm giving it to Kirsten Dunst.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? Really? Oh my gosh.
It's okay. We'll separate, I think, for some
separate otherwise. Wow, I'm really surprised. This is great. So Kirsten Dunst, Power of the Dog. I mean, so let's take this opportunity to talk a little bit about Power of the Dog. So the Power of the Dog, Jane Campion's back, right? Everyone's been decided she hasn't made a movie in a long time. She's back. It's a movie about a really irascible, kind of irritable rancher and his brother. So this is Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons. And their lives become intertwined with this innkeeper played by Kirsten Dunst. When Jesse Plemons sort of falls in love with her, they get married, and then she moves in with them in their sort of ranch. And
their depressing bummer ranch house. Yeah.
And she has a son from another relationship played by Cody Smith-McPhee. And he's almost fully grown. So he's like
he goes to boarding school.
He's going to boarding school.
And then she's really alone.
Yeah. And so she comes into this environment where basically disrupting what was going on between these two brothers, between Benedict Cumberbatch and Jesse Plemons. And Benedict Cumberbatch is deeply resentful of that and makes her life absolutely miserable. But the thing I loved about her performance and why I feel like it actually is, for me, the standout of the movie is it's both funny. She's funny in many respects, but also deeply pitiful. And she sort of recedes back into childhood. Like watching her over the course of the film is like watching someone, revert back into a childlike state. She has to be basically taken care of by her son. She becomes addicted to, she becomes an alcoholic. and she looks terrible over the course of the film. She's at varying degrees of unkemptness throughout. And just watching her be sort of slowly tortured by this guy played by Benedict Cumberbatch, it's really wonderful. And I think,
it's also like it's a quiet and subtle and nuanced performance too. It's not histrionic.
That's right. It very well could have been, but she plays it very quietly. She plays it like a supporting role. Like she's like, I'm going to recede into the background and not take over any of these scenes. But as a result, it's a very generous performance, right? And she sort of cedes the stage to Benedict, who has a much more showy performance. And but I really like hers, and so that's why I wanted to give it to her as well. Yeah.
Oh, Mrs. Merchant, that's who it was. She drew chalk stars by our names on the blackboard. I wonder why it was stars she gave us. Why not diamonds? Why not hearts? Why not spades? Why? I wonder why it was always stars.
Because stars are supposed to be unreachable.
Yes, but they weren't unreachable because she gave them to us.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have some divergence on Best Actor. So that would be next.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so that was Best Supporting Actor. So just to recap, we're giving it to Catherine Hunter, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog. All right.
I can't believe we have pretty much all the
actor.
same things.
Now, I think we are going to diverge at least on one
Sure.
of these.
All right. Are we throwing out our noms first?
Yes, go for it. Give me a nom.
All right. Keanu Reeves, Matrix.
Not on my list. Okay.
I thought he was great.
I thought he was good too. Yeah. Matrix 4. Yeah.
Matrix 4. Yes. He's just, he plays the depression and the disorientation so well. It's also kind of a quiet performance.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of his best, honestly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wanted, he did not win for me, but I wanted to give him the nom.
That's great. I overlooked that. And, but I totally agree. I think it's the best performance of Neo he's ever done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. I'll give one now. Leonardo DiCaprio, Don't Look Up.
Okay. All right.
Now this is a movie. Don't Look Up is a movie I'm not particularly fond of. I'm not proud that I'm not fond of it by any means. I'm actually a big fan of Adam McKay's whatever.
Yeah,
like,
you
quote,
love
unquote.
Vice.
I like Vice. I think I'm the only person in the world who likes Vice. So, here I am, loud and proud on Vice. But
it's not like you need your movies to be subtle. So
no,
that's not it.
I did not like this movie that much, but I really did enjoy DiCaprio just screaming into the void. I think he, in a way, like understood exactly what Adam McKay wanted, which was just channel all of your anger and frustration at partisanship and everything and conservatives and misinformation and just scream in, at the camera.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious. I mean, it's just, there's this, the scene that I want to play is the one where he's freaking out on the live TV thing about that, we took a picture of the fucking comet. It's right there. Anyway, I love that scene.
Look, let's establish once again that there is a huge comet headed towards Earth. And the reason we know that there is a comet is because we saw it. We saw it with our own eyes using a telescope. I mean, for God's sakes, we took a fucking picture of it. What other proof do we need? I assure you, I am not on one side or the other. I'm just telling you the fucking truth.
I think this would be a good time to establish that Isherwell and the president have both said that there's benefits to be had.
Well, the president of the United States is fucking lying. Look, I'm just like all of you. I hope to God that this president knows what she's doing. I hope she's got us all taken care of. But the truth is, I think this whole administration has completely lost their fucking mind! And I think we're all gonna die!
I also kind of like the sort of like a subplot that's like a Cinderella story. Like he's in typical Hollywood fashion, we have to pretend that the beautiful woman isn't beautiful when she's wearing her glasses, and like he's supposed to look frumpy in the beginning, and then he, I don't know, gets like a very mild makeover and becomes like hot professor.
Yeah, suddenly then everyone, it's like, what do they call him? Like a elf astrophysicist I'd like to fuck. Elf. That's good. I laughed. I like laughed in the movie. I enjoyed myself. I don't really ever want to watch it again.
Yep.
That's Don't Look Up. All right, give me another nom.
Okay.
Best actor.
Yeah. This is a silly one. Taylor Page for Zola.
I have Taylor Page down.
Okay.
Yeah, I have Taylor Page down.
She's really good.
Zola's great. So
were you thinking about her versus Riley?
I think I liked her more.
I did too.
Yeah.
I did too. I mean, obviously Riley has the more showy performance.
Yeah.
So this is about it's a Twitter thread, I understand, that went crazy, basically. Yeah. But it was about two dancers, and
they go to Florida.
They go to Florida to dance ostensibly. But it turns out, so Taylor Page's character gets drawn into is it Riley Keough? Is that her?
Mm-hmm.
Riley Keough it says like, let's go down to Florida to dance. But it turns out really what she's going to be doing there is just like a couple of nights of prostitution back to like just bringing in men back to back in the hotel room. And poor Taylor Page is just like along for this ride. It basically becomes hostage to her pimp.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I kind of think of it as it's a very much in the vein, the kind of neorealist vein of Sean Baker. I feel like it's the Red Rocket light for this year. But the thing I liked about Taylor Page is that it's like a zany movie, right? It's a completely out of control movie,
and she's so grounded. She's the grounded one.
Yeah, she
and
grounds
her reactions, because Riley Keough is like oftentimes sort of like embodying certain culturally Black like language, style, right? And like and Taylor Page, who's Black, is like responding to this in a way where she's like internalizing it, not trying to piss anybody off because there's literally guns around, but you can just like her performance is so funny and so good in responding to what Riley is doing.
Yeah, totally.
Bitch, you got me fucked up. You had me out here thinking we was coming to dance in Tampa. But the okie doke was, your bum ass thought I was one of these hoes out here popping pussy for pennies? While I bide my time to make the real money ass up, face down. Girl, listen, no shade, no shame, do you? But that is not what you told me I was coming out here to do. You gonna hit me? What the fuck is wrong with you? This is messy. You are messy. Your brain is broke.
Okay, agree on that. And Zola's a fun movie, so check it out if you have a chance. Let me give another actor nom.
Yeah.
I have Adam Driver for Annette.
Yes.
I mean, that's a no surprises for me.
He didn't win for you. Okay.
No. Remember, every can only win once.
Of course.
So,
you're saving Annette. You're saving Annette.
Who knows what I'm saving it for? We'll see.
He's so good in Annette.
Yeah, he's great. He's singing. He's playing pathos. He's playing violent, and he's slippery in that way that Adam Driver is, right? Where you can't quite pin him down because you're like, is this guy a bad guy?
He's absolutely despicable in this movie, and yet, he plays like a comedian. I guess it's like a performance art.
Yeah,
comedian.
He's a comedian. His name is Henry McHenry.
Okay, and there's long scenes of his show that are just like painful to watch. I feel like he's just the absolute worst as a human being and as a man.
Those shows are funny. I think they're quite fun. They're fun to watch. The audience is engaging with him. It's all very. It's a big part of this film. So I should mention now. I mean, it's Leos Carax, who's this French filmmaker who's made not that many movies, and he mostly makes avant-garde French films. And for some reason, Amazon gave him a decent budget to make a musical with Sparks. And Annette is what you get. And he got stars like Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard, and they sing and dance, and it's very much a musical, and it's absurd and broad and meta. It's full of all kinds of meta stuff. And at the same time,
so emotional.
It's grounded in a real emotional thing about parenthood. And that, I mean, that resonates with us as being parents of young children. And I think it's, I think that final scene with him and Baby Annette is really the standout scene. And so that, I think it was a great performance.
Well, the true truth is, this morning, I killed.
Louder!
Louder, Henry! Can't hear you back here.
Mike, Henry?
I killed my wife. Yes, laugh, laugh, laugh. Laugh, laugh, laugh. So I said it. I killed my wife.
Agreed. Yeah, he's on my list too.
Okay, give me another one.
All right. Simon Rex, Red Rocket.
He did not win.
He did not win.
Interesting.
He was so close.
Okay.
He was so close. I ended up giving it to two ladies.
Hey, that's great. I mean, Simon Rex he's fantastic. So
he's fantastic. So he is. So we mentioned Red Rocket's about the aging porn star. He plays the aging porn star. I knew him from countless hours of the Amanda Bynes sitcom What I Like About You. I believe he was also in the Scary Movies franchise, but he hasn't worked in a while. And I was really delighted to see him, and he was excellent, absolutely amazing as a sort of charismatic grifter, but you don't know, your sympathies keep shifting throughout the movie, and he keeps you with him the entire time, and you don't really know if he's like a mess and trying to get his life back on track and has good intentions, or if he's actually just like a freaking psychopath, or you're not sure. And he plays it so well, and there are times he's so manic in a lot of the movie, and you can get that sense that like he talks really fast, he gets really excited, you can see how people get whipped up by him and swept along in his energy and his enthusiasm. And throughout the movie there are drawing parallels to Trump.
Yeah, well, it's in the background.
It's in the background. Yeah, it's taking place during the 2016 elections, and periodically people in this Gulf town of Texas are watching news coverage of Trump.
We'll talk more about Red Rocket, I think.
Okay.
But yeah.
I
good
think we
choice.
will.
Great choice. Here's another one. Agathe Roussel, Titan.
Okay.
So she plays Alexia, and I don't know how to describe this movie. Because there's so many twists and turns. It's a tightrope walking movie in the sense of actually many of the ones that we liked this year, in the sense that you will never know quite where it's going until the end.
Yeah, I feel like this top level description of the narrative would be just like Alexia is on the run and decides to pose as a child who had gone missing many years ago.
Yeah, that's probably enough, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. But
and gets adopted by the father.
Yes, Adrian is the other name of the sort of person she impersonates, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just an immensely physical performance in the very best way. I mean, it's a very tricky performance and requires quite a bit of commitment on her part. And as a result, because she is fully committed, and because she's also, I think because she's non-professional, I think it just lends an air of credibility and believability to everything that's going on in the film, even though it's a film that's very much fantastical. And so I love Titan, and I think her performance is great. So check out Titan. Give me another nom.
Yeah. Going back to Lost Daughter, I also nominated Olivia Colman. First lead.
I didn't give it to Olivia Colman this year.
So you felt like Jessie was the standout of that
I think
movie?
what it is for me, I think she's great, but I think
it's not new.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think Olivia Colman, I've seen her do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I know kind of she felt like she was being Olivia Colman. I mean, it's a good role in the sense that it's challenging and, and that she's kind of a jerk and she has to play it. She has that kind of charisma. So she softens it. But yeah, it just, I thought it was good, but she did not make my list.
Sure. Yeah. I think it was a really good casting choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tough role, to stay with a character who acts pretty awfully throughout a lot of the movie. She steals a girl's doll.
Yeah.
She straight up steals a little girl's doll.
Yeah.
And the girl is like bereft about it. And she just keeps it in the house. But Olivia Colman, because we are so used to loving her and she's so used to her jolly self that she can really walk that line.
Look, I'm sorry about earlier as well. I was feeling a bit anxious.
Yeah. Well, the sun can do that. And, well, maybe your girls, being away from your girls,
Yeah, well, you'll see. Children are a crushing responsibility. Happy birthday.
Okay, so I've got 2 more noms, but I suspect that at least one or both of these are your winners.
Yep.
We'll see.
Okay.
One nom is Alana Haim for Licorice Pizza.
I also nominated her.
Okay.
She's amazing. I did not give it to her.
Alana Haim. So we'll talk more about Licorice Pizza, but Alana Haim from the band Haim, she has never acted before. And yet, it's an unbelievable performance.
So natural.
Yeah.
And, her face is filling the screen for like so much of that movie.
Yeah. It's in a way like a love letter to Alana Haim. And that's an incredibly, I don't know, it's a weighty thing to put on someone who's never acted before, right? It's one thing to do that to someone like, Daniel Day-Lewis, who knows how to have a camera on him and be 30 feet tall. Alana Haim has never, she's been on a stage, I guess. So that's a, there's something there, but she's acting in a way and she's acting alongside her sisters and her parents. And I mean, it's just very personal, even though, she's playing a character, but there's so many elements of this character who's, the life of this character that's coming through, her own life in a way. And so it's, that takes a lot of maturity and gusto to do that. And so I had to give her at least a nom because I thought it was really impressive. I hope she keeps acting. I mean, I don't know if she will, but she was great. Maybe this was just the perfect role for her. Who knows?
Young lady, you don't bring this idiot to Shabbat dinner here.
Listen, Dad, he's an atheist and an actor, and he's famous.
But he's Jewish.
He was gonna take me out of here, Essie. Don't you even look at me. Don't you even look at me. You're always looking at me. What are you doing?
I didn't even say anything.
What are you doing? What are you thinking, huh? I'm Essie. I work for Mom and Dad. I'm perfect. I'm a real estate agent. Alana doesn't have her life together. Alana brings home stupid boyfriends all the time. I knew it. I knew that was what you were thinking. You're always thinking things, you thinker. You thinker. You think things.
The other one I have as a nom, which I suspect is a winner of yours, is Kristen Stewart for Spencer.
Yes. I gave it to Kristen Stewart for Spencer.
I'll leave the floor to you.
I mean, we spent a lot of time with Kristen Stewart this year because we watched 5 Twilight movies and also that underwater, whatever that underwater movie was too. So we watched.
I think this is called Underwater.
It was called Underwater. We watched a lot of Kristen Stewart. I think, I didn't know what to expect because I haven't really seen Kristen Stewart try to do one of these more sort of like embodied impersonation roles that so often get Oscar play. She is like still kind of Kristen Stewart, and yet I think embodies something about Princess Diana so well. We were watching interviews with Princess Diana afterwards, and there's something kind of like there's an itchy discomfort whenever Princess Diana was on camera that Kristen Stewart's doing really well there. I was totally taken by this movie, and I thought Kristen Stewart was amazing.
Yeah. It's good casting because there are parallels between Diana's life and Kristen Stewart's life. And so Pablo Larraín, who directed Spencer, I think is wanting her to tap into that and bring that dimension of her own experience, being in the Twilight films and then being this super celebrity in the
having
way
her
that
relationships in the tabloids.
Yeah, exactly. In the way that Diana was, and how she dealt with that, and having this was a film where I was incredibly uncomfortable for most of this film, partly because the film manages to create a space of feeling like everyone's looking at you all the time, which is exactly what Larraín wants us to feel Diana was experiencing. And there are some scenes where she's, eating at these large tables, and everyone is waiting for her to finish her food so they can go on to the next course. And she, Princess Diana famously had an eating disorder, and this was very different. This kind of thing would be incredibly difficult for her to do. And just the amount of stress that this movie was able to generate in terms of putting you in the mindset of a character who's being forced to do this in front of everyone and being judged constantly was amazing. And it was a real feat. I just didn't enjoy it that much. Sometimes I quite enjoy that experience, and this time I didn't enjoy that experience. Although I have to tip my hat to the craft.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Especially, to on a personal note, as somebody who has struggled with eating disorders and eating in the past, like it really does capture that feeling. You do feel like people are watching, especially once people know this about you and are concerned or, I don't know, judgy. It is like it took me back to some darker places, and that wasn't necessarily comfortable, but I thought it was really remarkable.
One of the men reported back today that they saw you dressing and undressing with your curtains open. If there had been a photographer.
Now you really watch.
I watch to make sure that others do not see. Their lenses are terribly powerful these days, ma'am.
Their lenses are more like microscopes, actually. And I'm the insect in the dish. You see, they're pulling my wings and my legs off. One by one. Making notes on how I react. Because she really does make a fuss, this one, doesn't she? Not like Anne Boleyn, who offered her head to the tweezers with such grace.
So my first winner is Simon Rex from Red Rocket.
Nice,
I'm giving it to him.
Simon!
He just won it for the Spirit Awards, and that really confirmed it for me that, this is an unbelievable performance. It might just be a flash in the pan. This is like the perfect role for the perfect actor kind of situation. But I don't think so. I think actually he is talented. And but there is something about the casting that is perfect here. And again, Red Rocket's Sean Baker film. It's about this washed up porn star who comes back. And, I think Red Rocket, Nightmare Alley, and in a way, Licorice Pizza are all kind of dealing with the same theme of the experience of being under the spell of a con man in a way, and
an operator.
And Red Rocket is, I think, the most emotionally and thematically complex of those films in that regard, in that it really is ambivalent about this guy. I won't give away the ending, but it is very much, in the spirit of thinking about, what it's I'll put it this way. It's an apolitical film that is about Trumpism, but apolitically. It's not interested in any politics. There is some political stuff in the background, but it really does not care about that. It's interested in people and the psychological manifestation of this kind of charisma. And without someone like Simon Rex, who has that kind of charisma and the willingness to just be, it feels like he's really being quite open and honest with the camera. And if he wasn't that way, it would just, if there was any irony or something or detachment, it wouldn't work. And so I think the fact that this guy was, as he said in his Spirit Awards speech, he's like, I wasn't getting callbacks for like Gap commercials. Like he was like, I was ready to just quit. So he's a guy with nothing to lose. And in a way, that's the character he's playing, Mikey Saber. He's a guy with kind of in his lowest point, and he can only go up in a way. So he's sort of ready to do anything. And I think that's the magic of the performance. And it works partly, I think, because the character and the actors are aligning in this way.
You said you're never going to step a foot in Texas again.
And then the world fucked me. What can I say? Peekaboo!
Ma!
See, your mom's saying, let him in and take a shower. And the dog's like, oh, he's a good man. I can tell by his nice energy. Please let me take a fucking shower.
So that was my first winner. Who's your second winner?
Lady Gaga, House of Gucci.
Oh, I see. Okay, I didn't even have her as a nom. Tell us about Lady Gaga.
Dare you? Okay, fine. It's a like over the top showy performance, but man, House of Gucci, what a fun film. And that's all I have to say about that. I had a great time. And every time, I mean, Jared Leto obviously was going hard and having a good time. And I think he fully deserves our best supporting actor. But we are with Lady Gaga the entirety of that movie. And I think, if she were a little too hammy, maybe it would tip into complete ludicrousness. Adam Driver's pretty grounded in that movie, but she has this. I
mean, she's the audience surrogate.
She's the audience surrogate.
Right.
She apparently kept that accent like the entire filming. She was in character all the time. Can you imagine just like living her life with that Italian accent? She fully committed. I think she's really talented.
I do think she's quite talented.
I think she's really talented. Yeah. And I think she knew what the sort of energy of this movie is. And I think she was spectacular in it. So fun.
Very fun.
As soon as we landed, we went to the Jules Verne restaurant in the Eiffel Tower. It's at the top.
No. It's on the second floor.
It was magnificent. Later, we went to the Louvre. I'd always dreamt of seeing the Louvre. We arranged for a private tour. Thank God. Imagine all those crowds. I couldn't do it.
They just want to know where you got the macaroon, sweetie.
I'm telling them.
Yeah, you're feeling the story full of unnecessary details.
I don't think our guests mind.
They wouldn't say if they did.
You're an unnecessary detail.
Yeah,
had to give it to Gaga.
I'm excited.
And that's where I can put in
you.
Gucci. Because surprisingly, Gucci doesn't show up much more after this.
Right. But so you didn't give it. Yeah, that's right. Because you didn't give supporting actor to Jared Leto. Yeah,
I did not.
Yeah, it's so fascinating. Yeah. It's interesting how this is all breaking down. Okay. So for me, I've Red Rocket. You got Spencer, Kristen Stewart.
Yes.
And now you've got Lady Gaga, House of Gucci.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Well, greetings from the future. We're punching in from the future. We managed to watch The Worst Person in the World. And we've got some late breaking news. I need to update my acting category accordingly.
Okay, lay it on us.
I loved this movie. And I loved the main character, Julie, played by Renate Reinsve. I thought she was amazing. And I want to give her my acting award for the year.
She was amazing.
So what's The Worst Person in the World? Well, it's a movie about a character named Julie. She falls in love with a guy who's much older than her, named Axel. She's, at the time she falls in love with him, trying out different things. She doesn't quite know what she wants to do with her life. She's pulled in different directions. She has different passions. And at the same time, she's not ready to settle down. So there's a bit of a conflict and tension already in their relationship, given that he's older, he wants to have kids, he wants to settle down. I can't really say more because I don't want to really tell you where this movie's going if you haven't seen it already. But in a way, what I just said sells it far short because I think the movie is actually quite profound and captures a few different things that I haven't seen done well in recent memory in movies. One of them being that because of our pasts that are separate, it's very difficult to forge new connections with people. So much of your life has been separate from the person.
Mm-hmm.
That I think is a really interesting idea that the film explores really well. And the other thing is just the terror of change and how quickly someone might change and what that can do to you when you're not expecting it, when you're not expecting someone to just fall out of love with you or fall in love with you.
Or like meet a reindeer.
Or whatever. And so there are these profound moments that can change someone permanently. And that could happen to you. That could happen to someone you love. And that could forever change your life. And I thought the film handled these two themes really nicely. And it was really, for me, a joy to watch. What did you think about The Worst Person in the World?
Oh my gosh. I'm not ready to formulate my thoughts on this. Okay. I did not love it in the same way you did, but I need to spend some more time thinking about whether or not these are criticisms that are fair. But my knee-jerk reaction was that the movie became about Axel by the end, that the movie romanticized Axel's point of view, which is very Generation X point of view, and that the film kind of doesn't take seriously her exploration or it sort of dismisses it as immature. You know, the way that she flits from thing to thing is played comedically in the prologue. And I'm not really sure like if the message is supposed to be, it's fine to explore in your 20s, but you better settle the fuck down and like figure out what you're interested in by the 30s. So yeah, I did not love it. But I think I need to chew on it for a little bit longer. That being said, Renata was amazing, incredible.
I think we're just going to have to do a whole episode on this one. Maybe an emergency pod to just hash it out.
I need to be way more articulate in that next one.
Yeah,
and,
same
become
here.
prepared.
Same here. We got to prep for it, but maybe we'll do that down the road. But one of us loved
really
it.
Smart people have loved this movie. Some really smart people have not loved this movie, and I'm just trying to like figure out where I'm at.
Yes.
But we both agree.
She's great.
She's amazing.
Luminous and wonderful. And Joachim Trier, who directed the film, I think understands how glowing and just mesmerizing her performance is. So he just leaves the camera on her and it's great. And she's a real a gem. And so
she's so natural.
Yeah. I give her my Best Actress award for The Blobscars. And this replaces Emilia Jones, who I had previously thought I would end up giving the award to from Coda. I still think that Emilia Jones did an amazing job. I really think her performance has somewhat been overlooked, I think, and deserves recognition given just the pure technical
I hadn't thought about the fact
skill.
that she's signing, acting, and singing.
She's signing
3 planes of performance.
Acting and singing, exactly. And she had to learn sign language to for this. She wasn't fluent in sign language. But by the end of it, she was able to communicate with her co-actors. And, I just think it's a feat. And I also think she's very natural and grounds the film. And it's a film which I'm not super high on, partly because I think it overreaches in various places and it's overwrought and cliched. But I liked how she is, just a grounding presence in the film and brings it all down to earth and makes for a very believable and relatable character. As someone who's watching this film, like myself, who's thinking, "Oh, this is pretty ridiculous," I was kept, in it because of her. And so I really do like her performance, but I have to say Renata wins for me. So that's just a quick punch in, and now we're gonna get back to the rest of the Blobscars. There we go. So now we've done supporting actor and best actor. Why don't we go now to writing and score?
Okay.
So writing, this is a tough one because,
I don't really know what it means.
Yeah, nobody quite knows what it means. Usually it's about, putting words on the page and this kind of script thing that people they talk about.
That's
and
rude.
the actors read from it.
Yeah.
And they memorize it.
You don't
and
need to
then
be a jerk about it. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what writing is.
I quit this podcast.
I'm gonna go first on this one.
Yeah, why don't you?
And all of mine. I put in alphabetical order. So I'm gonna start with. Yeah, I believe this would be the first one. It's a threesome. Ben Affleck,
don't be gross.
Matt Damon, and Nicole Holofcener for The Last Duel.
All right,
that's a nom
you
right
love
there.
Last Duel.
Hey man, Last Duel was good. And here's the thing: each of them wrote the different parts. Affleck wrote the first part. Damon wrote the second part, and Holofcener wrote the.
But which part is the true part?
Well, it's a Rashomon. No,
oh
I'm
my
just
God!
kidding.
If somebody says Rashomon one more time, I'm going to stab my eyeball
It's so
out.
completely not a Rashomon thing, anyway. But anyway, but whatever. It's one of them is the truth.
One of them is right.
Not how it works in Rashomon.
Yeah.
But anyway, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was good writing. I thought it was cool. It's a cool idea. Really cool idea to just have the actors effectively be like, here's the storyline. You write the script.
Yeah.
I thought that's cool.
That is cool. I didn't actually know that about Last Duel when we watched it.
Well, there you go.
And now I've learned something. I've also learned that writing is about putting words on a page.
Hey man, this is an educational podcast.
All right. I have Jane Campion, Power of the Dog.
Okay, easy.
It's an adaptation. We didn't really do original screenplay versus adaptation, but I think, it's I have not read the original book, but from what I understand, it's maybe even more
doggy.
The homosexual stuff, the gay stuff is more hinted at and less explicit, and finding that in between, I think she did a really good job with that. And there's a bit of a twist ending, except for not really a twist ending because they kind of tell you in the beginning.
Oh, but man, nobody got that except you. I did. I was,
and you
surprised by the twist.
Know at any point like who your lead character is, what storyline you're following. Is this movie about Jesse Plemons? Is it about Benedict Cumberbatch? Wait, no, is it about Cody? I think it was, without having known the original source material, I think it was a really good adaptation.
That's a good pick. Here's my other pick, I've got a couple, but here's another nom. Paul Thomas Anderson for Licorice Pizza.
Sure.
That's an easy nomination for me.
For writing, though?
For writing.
Because I didn't think about it for writing because I was like not even sure how much of it is loose and like actually on the page.
That's the thing. I think Paul Thomas Anderson that's how he does it. He's a very writerly writer. I think he writes it, and I don't know how much of it is improvised, honestly. So either way, I think there's a magic to the film in terms of the structure.
Yeah,
where it in a way it kind of keeps you guessing at every point what is happening in the scene you're watching, and who is driving everything, and what's their role in all this. It's very sort of disorienting to watch for the first time, and I love that.
I think at one point Alana Haim says to Sean Penn, "Is this real life or are these lines?"
It's great. It's great.
That's how the whole movie feels,
and it just feels like you're in a fantasy world. I mean, that I think really captures the feeling of LA at any point, but probably especially in the 70s, in the height of the American, I don't know if the height, but whatever, a very prominent period of American filmmaking. And so, yeah, I think this is an easy nomination personally, but
sure,
I didn't give him the win. So
no, because you're saving it. Julia Ducournau, how do you say her name?
Julia Ducournau, yeah, for
Titan.
Titan.
Yeah, it's just a crazy story.
Mm-hmm.
It's and as you say, you never really know what it's about and what's happening. And I think I ruminated on that movie for a while afterwards, unpacking it. So
that's a good pick. Yeah, I don't have it, but I think it's a good pick.
Okay, I have a tie.
You can't. You have to pick.
Well, I want you to go first.
Okay. Well, I have a couple more noms.
How many nominations do you have?
I've got a couple more. I've got Asghar Farhadi for A Hero.
I have that one too.
So I think this is where, Farhadi is, one of, at least I think he's one of my favorite directors. I think I can safely say this. I mean, A Separation, I think
he's never let us
a
down.
masterpiece. And I think he's really the ultimate, he's like the master of the human morality fable. And basically the plot of A Hero is, there's a guy named Rahim, and he's in prison because he's unable to repay his debts. And his girlfriend finds a purse with some gold in it. And their plan is, when he's on a furlough, they're going to pawn the gold, and then, with the money, repay his debts to get him out of prison. I won't say any more than that, but it's a movie which takes many twists and turns in terms of the, your loyalties and who's a good guy and who's a bad guy, and the complexity of the moral situation that these guys end up in, that both Rahim and then everyone connected to Rahim ends up in. It's just classic Farhadi. It just becomes so complicated and so gray.
Things get so out of hand
and mushy, and you never know quite what to think at any given point.
Except for that you're stressed out.
It's very stressful
for everybody.
It's very stressful, and I think that's most of this is due to the writing. I think Farhadi he writes, his movies are like plays. They basically could be plays, and I think that's why I think Farhadi he's kind of a master at the writing craft. I think that's really where it is. And so although I didn't give him the award,
okay,
maybe I should have. After I've said all this,
okay, For me, it was between.
Oh yeah, I got more noms
and one more. So I'm going to see what else you got.
Okay, I got
and
more
then I'll
noms.
decide what I'm giving it to.
I have Emma Seligman for Shiva Baby.
Fun, nice
So
choice.
Shiva Baby. So
love Shiva Baby.
Shiva Baby this is Emma Seligman's. I think it's her debut film, and it's about a woman named Danielle who's basically she's in college. She doesn't quite know what to do with her life. She is trapped between two conflicting things. She has these sort of aspirations to do something sort of meaningful with her life, something that she thinks is valuable. On the other hand, her parents wanted to be like a lawyer, and just, like they just wanted to make money and be comfortable, or they wanted to meet a nice Jewish guy, and it's a kind of a masterclass of just creating tension in a very enclosed environment.
Yeah.
It's incredibly claustrophobic.
They're all sitting
movie.
Shiva.
So everyone's sitting Shiva, and she's just surrounded by people, and then just it's like a play in the sense that every time a new character enters, it adds a whole new dimension of tension, and I really enjoyed Shiva Baby, so I gave it a nom.
Shiva Baby was so fun. That's a great one.
Your behavior right now is completely unacceptable.
Okay, I think you need to relax.
Don't you tell me to relax. You are flirting with everyone. You are chugging wine. You are sitting on a table. What is this? A party? And I thought I told you no funny business with Maya.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, yes, you do. Don't play dumb with me. I thought you were done experimenting.
You think everyone that's bi is experimenting. You don't know anything. You have zero gaydar.
Excuse me, kid. I lived through New York in the 80s. My gaydar is strong as a bull.
Look at this waist.
Oh, my God. Oh, hi, darling. How was spin class?
Oh, it was good, but look at this one. Is she not eating? How
Right?
much she weigh? How much she weigh?
I don't know. I just...
See?
All right, so here's my win.
Okay.
And you can decide.
Okay.
Okay, so my win is Paul Verhoeven and David Burke for Benedetta.
Okay.
You didn't see that coming.
I did not.
We have not talked about Benedetta, so I'll just say something really quickly, and then we'll hear your winner. I think this is a cool movie, and I think it's one of the more sophisticated deconstructions and parodies of organized religion. It's set in a 17th century Italian convent. Benedetta is a nun, but she's a true believer in the real sense. She has faith where pretty much everyone else around her is a non-believer. They just all the nuns and the clergy and everything, they know what they need to say because they're getting whatever degree of power is afforded them by having the authority of talking to God.
/ for women, it's like a source. It's like a last resort / refuge.
Exactly.
To be a nun. It's not always about power too. Like a lot of those women in there are just
seeking safety from the violent world. And then Benedetta shows up and she's like, God is speaking to me. And it's just great. And it's just crazy. And
she's like, God is speaking to me and Jesus is my husband. He's my sexy husband.
I really liked it. I thought it was a very cool movie. And I thought that one of the things that I think is so great about the movie and why I think you should see it is that it flirts with realism and fantasticalness. Phantasm, or I don't know what the anti-realism in a kind of exciting ways where you're never quite sure whether Benedetta maybe really is talking to God or is she just insane? Like you're not quite sure what's going on. And maybe until even the last moment of the movie, and then even then, maybe it's unclear. Like I really enjoy how the movie doesn't quite tell you what universe you're in, and that adds a degree of tension and excitement to everything that's happening. So that's my pick, Benedetta.
Jésus-Christ a choisi notre bienheureuse sœur, Benedetta.
Santa Benedetta.
Benedetta.
Vous avez un doute?
La fille était au lit. Aucun miracle ne se produit dans un lit, croyez-moi.
Benedetta nous dupe.
Okay. All right. So I was in between Farhadi and this other one, but since we both talked about Farhadi, and I liked Hero, but I feel like I liked the other Farhadi movies better. Maybe I won't give him the writing award, so I'll give it to Christian Petzold for Undine.
Okay. Yeah.
I really liked Undine, and Christian Petzold, like you said, with Farhadi, I think a lot of his talent is in the writing of his films. They all kind of grapple with the history of Germany in some way. This one is like a mermaid tale, but also spends a lot of time talking about the history of Berlin because, I guess Undine's mermaid day job is that she is
mermaid day job. Yeah. She's a tour guide.
She's a tour guide and talks about the history of Berlin. There's I think I need to watch it a couple more times to even unpack everything that's going on.
I think you have to take a course in reunification of Germany.
I think I need to.
I
think I need to. I'm definitely not educated enough for it, but all the same, I'm still interested because it's combining these this fairy tale world and, you know, and something that's much more real and complex. And, you know, I think the other magical thing about Kristen Petzold is that he frequently works with the same actors who have, you know, beautiful chemistry. So the actors in Undine are lovely too. But yeah, Undine, I want to see it again. I want to try and keep chewing on it. That's
a great pick. Yeah, the actors are Franz Rogowski and Paula Beer. And they're fantastic together. I think they're making another one. I think Christian Petzold. I think it's gonna be almost like a trilogy.
What was the name
Transit
of the
was the other
Transit?
one.
This one I feel like I like Transit. I feel like this one was a little bit more. I was more like immediately engaged with this one than with Transit.
Transit was more mysterious.
It was more mysterious. I kind of felt more. I spent more time trying to figure out just like where they were and what time it was, you know, and if this was a real life thing or if this was like an alternate universe.
Yeah.
And if it then with this story where, you know, Undine is just like, well, if you leave me, I'll have to kill you.
It's like that's the rules.
That's the rules. And
that's
I'm just like,
how the mermaid logic works.
Yep. I'm on board.
All right. So to recap, we have for writing, Justin's pick, Paul Verhoeven and David Burke for Benedetta, and Laura.
Oh, Kristen Petzold for Undine.
Okay. Let's move on to best score. Give me a nomination for best score. I don't have like 5 nominations here, so.
Oh, okay. I can keep mine a little bit short. We're doing best original music or best score?
Well, sorry, same thing.
Well, I don't know. Annette Sparks, is that?
I have Annette Sparks under
that's
score.
Not score, really, but sure.
Okay, I was just counting. Well, whatever. I'm counting it as.
I guess what I was wondering is whether or not Barb and Star can go in there.
All right, put it in.
Okay, I'm going to nominate Annette. Music by Sparks.
Music by Sparks.
1, 2, 3, 4. So may we start. So may we start. It's time to start. High time to start. They hope.
It's great. I love this. I love the music. People were saying the music sucks. I don't know what they were talking about.
I understood what they meant because you know the lyrics are not great. You know, there's like a lot of "we love each other so much."
Yeah, but once I kept playing the soundtrack, like the score over and over in your head, then you were like, I kind of dig this.
I don't know about "we love each other so much," but maybe "Start" rocks. It rocks. So
it starts and ends really well.
It does. Exactly. Yeah, the opening and the closing are phenomenal. So, yes, it's definitely worthy of a
Seconded.
Just for you, a tale of songs and fury. With no taboo, we'll sing and die for you.
Give me another one.
Excuse me. Dune, Hans Zimmer.
Okay, why'd you do that? You obviously know I'm giving it to Hans. So I can't. Now you're gonna make me. All right, fine. I'll just say
cut
Hans
it out. Cut it out.
No, it's fine. I'll just do. I'll just say my winner right now.
We don't need to spend so much time
Hans
on
Zimmer
this.
for Dune. I look. If Hans Zimmer makes a score that is for a sci-fi movie,
yeah,
I'm in some sense obligated to give him the award.
Yeah,
Hans Zimmer wins. It's a wild score. It's
really good.
It's not his best score, but it is still.
What do you think is his best score?
I think it's
Interstellar.
I think it's Interstellar, but I think Inception is also just a phenomenal and an incredibly important score. But I think Dune, I listen to it nonstop when I'm working, and it just...
Yeah, it's why our son thinks that your job is to watch scary movies.
Yeah. It's a great score. I don't know what else I can say. I mean, you know, I'm obviously not giving Dune any other awards here.
No, me neither. It's the best part of Dune. All right, so here I'm just going to skip. I don't know. I don't feel like I can talk about score. I barely recognize score.
Winner.
My winner. I think truly, if my really true winner is Dune as well, but I wanted to shake it up because I know you were going to go Dune. So Micah Levi for Zola.
Okay. I mean, wow, really?
You don't remember it,
No,
right?
I don't remember it.
Yeah. So she is like in her 30s. She did Under the Skin and Jackie. And what did you say Zola was? Something light. What did you say earlier?
I said it was Red Rocket Light.
Red Rocket Light. Okay, so this score is like a lot of harp and toy pianos, like glockenspiel, jewelry boxes, it's tinkly. It really kind of like gives you this like otherworldly, fantasy, girly feel that's like, I feel like when I think about Zola, I think about like cotton candy and millennial pink.
Yeah.
And that score perfectly captures it. If you listen to it on Spotify, it's kind of funny because it's like the dialogue is played over it.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can really like listen to it in your free time in the same way. But I think it's a really good score for the movie. And it actually stuck with me because it worked so well too with a little like zoop zoop Twitter sound.
Oh, nice.
Right. I just feel like it made the movie like really cohere style wise. And it's a different one.
Great. That's a great pick. Oh, that's a great pick. Yeah, it's kind of coming back to me now, actually.
I'm excited about that one because
that's cool.
know that I like barely clock scores.
No,
I don't.
great.
I'm such not a musical person. So I had like Spencer, Johnny Greenwood on here, but then if I'm like being honest, I don't really remember.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was great because it was Johnny Greenwood.
The Spencer score is really, it's aggressive and intense and
just like that
stressful.
movie.
Yeah. I thought it was the best part of Spencer personally. I mean, well, I don't know. I mean, Kristen Stewart's great.
How dare you?
The Johnny Greenwood score really announces itself from the beginning.
Yep.
Okay, so there we have it. We have Hans Zimmer, Dune, and sorry, who was your pick again?
Zola, Michael Levi.
Michael Levi, great. Let's move on to Best Director, and then we'll kind of come back and do some of the shorter categories before we finish up for Best Picture.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah. So we're going to come back into Best Scene.
Yeah, we'll come back and do Best Scene after.
Okay.
Okay, so I think for me, we've talked about all these movies, so I can go through it somewhat quickly.
Yeah.
So I've got Paul Thomas Anderson, Licorice Pizza.
Yep.
Sean Baker, Red Rocket.
Yep.
Julia Ducournau, Titan.
Yes.
Maggie Gyllenhaal, The Lost Daughter.
Yep.
And I'm giving it to Leos Carax for Annette.
Okay, so we have the exact same nominations. Only I'm giving it to PTA for Licorice Pizza.
You're giving it to PTA?
I'm giving
fantastic.
it to PTA. I am.
I will say that my decision was between Carax and Gyllenhaal. I thought Maggie
Interesting.
Gyllenhaal did something kind of amazing with The Lost Daughter. Partly it's because I think the directorial style makes that movie for me.
Yeah.
It's the way the flashbacks become these interstitial things that keep sort of intruding into her experience on the beach. And, they're just woven together so cleanly and so fluidly. And it really feels like a memory. Like when you're having that sense memory experience where something jolts a memory, like some smell or some action or some sound jolts this in you. And you're like, oh, that reminds me of this thing. And that's just the whole movie felt like that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I would want to give it to her. In any other year, I would do this, except that Annette is my number 2 movie, and I have to give it to Leos Carax. I think it's a movie where
It's just such a bold, crazy movie.
Yeah,
too.
it's a bold, crazy
obviously,
movie.
Carax he's a bold, crazy director, but to do a musical, that's a lot.
Yeah, I just think he really pulls off something incredibly difficult, and it's not for everyone. And probably most people who watched it on Amazon are like, "What the fuck did I just watch?" But I really think go check out Annette. It's a movie with Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard and an animatronic puppet baby, and it is incredible. And it's so stagey, and at the same time so vivid and alive. So I love Annette. I'm giving it to him. So do you want to give me your pitch for PT? I mean, I can't disagree with you.
You can't disagree with me. Is it like something remarkable that he's never done before? Not really. But I think like we talked about, Licorice Pizza being kind of as a hangout movie, as a light, fun hangout movie. It's a little bit more, it's shaggy. It's got a lot of sort of like little vignettes. It's a little bit more of a throwback to his earlier stuff, maybe Boogie Nights and Magnolia, except for the tone of Magnolia. But, in terms of like, the stacked cast and the way the narrative moves. But it feels like it's like just a more mature version of that. He just feels so assured in that movie. And I think it's a remarkable movie. I was smiling the whole time.
Yeah.
It's so magical. The performances are remarkable, and and the writing is remarkable, and that's all PTA.
Yep.
Obviously the performance, Alana is incredible, is wonderful in it too. But I think he manages to get this natural performance from everybody, really, unless it's Daniel Day-Lewis, in which case he's asking for something else.
Shut up.
He's asking for something else there. But you know what I mean.
He's doing something amazing. All right. No complaints. So just to recap, you've got Paul Thomas Anderson, Licorice Pizza.
Yep.
I have Leos Crocs for Annette.
Yeah, no surprises there.
Let's do one negative category. Most
Okay.
overrated film.
All right. Are we?
Give me one. Just give me one.
Hold on. Oh,
I've
no.
got
I
your
lost my
list
notes.
is down here. I'll give
Oh,
you.
my
I'll
God.
give you mine.
Yeah.
I'll give you mine. So it's a
Yeah.
film that has appeared on numerous best of lists.
Okay.
And I found it unbearably boring. And I found it just shallow and uninteresting. It's Bergman Island.
Oh God.
And I think it may be the most boring movie about the creative process or writer's block I've ever seen.
But Bergman Safari is funny.
Bergman Safari is hilarious, except that it's a real thing. If Bergman Safari was some joke that like they were like, yeah, let's go to Faro and pretend there's such a thing as Bergman Safari, and we can like have this be a kind of parody of what happens to an artist. No, it's a real thing, and it's just like, yeah, this fucking sucks. Like everything about this movie was irritating to me, and
Yeah, that movie was not my favorite either.
I feel like using Bergman as your muse in a way, and then not engaging
insulting.
with Bergman in any way,
Yeah.
except to just be like Bergman this, Bergman that, is an insult to Bergman and his legacy. I despise this movie, and I don't understand why people like it, but I'm sure there's something I'm missing because many smart people like it, and I apologize for being so hateful of a movie that many people like, but I really do feel like it's overrated. Okay, what's yours?
This is a nom, Pig.
Yep.
No, thank you. We are hardcore fans
Of the Cage.
Of the cage.
Oh, yeah.
In the Cage in this house.
Oh,
So
yeah,
it's
we
not,
did.
but I just don't think it's that interesting of a Nick Cage performance as they go. I don't know. I don't like people waxing poetic about food. Also, just like underground fighting rings in Portland. What the fuck was going on in that movie?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
No, thanks.
not the most inspired Cage performance. I mean, I think what they were going for was a kind of subversive use of Cage, but it's surface subversive.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't interesting. I mean, it was like I didn't see them tie into Cage's life, and I mean, maybe a little bit. It's like he's this famous actor, and he's trying to escape, right? Like this guy's a famous chef. He's trying to escape his life as a famous chef and be just going to live in the woods. But that's not the sense I get from Nick Cage. He doesn't seem like he just wants to run away and live in the woods.
No,
Like,
I didn't think there was
wants
anything
to-
meta going on in that movie.
Yeah, I feel like, if it was going to be good, it needed to have some meta element with the actor you're going to cast. And it was just sort of like, yeah, we know you're going to expect this is going to be John Wick with Nick Cage and a pig. And it's not. And
It's
that's-
not.
But like, also, that was like, you find that out in the first 10 minutes. So then I was like ready to, I was just like, I could just turn this thing off now. I would have preferred John Wick with Nick Cage and a pig, honestly.
Me too. All right, what's your next one?
No, that's it. I think it's enough. We don't need to,
Okay.
be harsh.
Okay. I mean, sure.
But let's do Hidden Gem.
Yeah.
So what's a movie that you felt was a little bit overlooked that deserves to have another look, deserves to have someone take a look at it?
Yeah. Barb and Star go to visit Omar.
Hi. We have a reservation under Barb and Star.
Okay. 6 nights?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want towels?
Yeah, I think so.
Do you need sheets?
Probably. Yeah. For the bed.
No pillows, though. Okay?
Okay.
I am not joking around about that. That is my pick.
Was it overlooked though?
Yes.
Okay.
You know why? 2 years ago, when we just all hit this pandemic, there was a little movie called Palm Springs that everybody like lost their mind over. And they were like, this is what we needed the pandemic. It's like got like, pools and palm trees and like good times and time loops. And I didn't think that movie was very good at all. And Barb and Star is definitely more of a Lorne Michaels super silly, crazy costumes and makeup over the top, like nonsense fest. But I think there's like something really cool going on about about like it's a real study of female relationships. And, you know, these two women, Barb and Star, they lose their job and decide to go on a little vacation together.
Yeah. It's a middle-aged movie for women.
It's a middle-aged woman for women. Yeah. One of them is like writes, you know, greeting cards as a hobby. And she said, like, she's like, because middle-aged women, like, we're really going through stuff.
Yeah.
And they are. And, you know, they get mixed up in this crazy plot because they like one night accidentally have a 3-way with Jamie Dorner. And and like the thing about it is like all the conflict doesn't come at all from that really, because like the intimacy of female friendships isn't about like, you know,
competition.
That competition, but also like it's not like it upends their friendship to the fact that they saw each other naked or saw each other having sex. Like female relationships are intimate. What's complicated with their relationship is like telling each other the truth when they're trying to protect one another. You know, like they don't want to let the other one know that they're having a good time in case the other one isn't having a good time, in case like that, you know, one woman's having success romantically if the other one's not having success romantically. Navigating like this space where you're supposed to be able to tell each other everything, but also we have to follow these secret rules about things that you can't really tell one another. And I just feel like I really connected with it, and the lady friendship aspect of it. I think there's some interesting writing happening there. You know, even when there's like a pale woman who can't be in the sun, and there was like a shrimp fest or something, shrimp festival. There's some real.
Is there like a talking crab at some point or a singing crab?
Probably. It's complete lunacy. It's very SNL sketch turned into 2 hours, and that's how you always feel when you watch a movie like that, where you're like, this should have been 45 minutes for the most part. But give Barb and Star a chance.
Okay, it's on Hulu, so yeah.
Give it a chance. I mean, even just for Kristen Wiig's accent alone, you're going to have a good time.
She's having fun.
And if I'm going to take a Jamie Dornan performance from this year, it's going to be that and not Belfast.
Yeah. Did you notice Belfast was not discussed?
Yeah. Well, I was going to put it on my overrated, but you cut off overrated. So
fair enough. I just didn't want to be too negative. Okay.
Fair enough.
I'm also going to recommend a movie, an overlooked gem that's on Hulu right now.
Okay.
It's Quo Vadis, Aida.
Okay.
So this is a movie.
Shut up. Are you really going to do that to me now? Because I just did Barb and Star.
Yeah. So
the movie's amazing.
Yeah.
Good pick.
It's
So
a movie
rude.
which came out in 2021, but it was up for Oscars last year for foreign language. So I'm not sure how it counts, but it did come out in 2021. So I think it deserves.
Yeah.
to
Otherwise,
be.
I'd be giving it all the awards.
Yeah, I think. And it. You know, it's my number 3 film of the year. I think it's so
good.
An amazing masterpiece. And it's set during the Serbian takeover of the town of Srebrenica in the lead up to the 95 Bosnian genocide. And Aida is this woman who's a UN interpreter trying to get her family safely out of the country. And it's incredibly watchable. It's tense. And it has that kind of Petzoldian in a way of thing where it's deeply thematically resonant. You just feel the mastery of somebody who knows how to infuse theme and play with ideas inside of a cinematic landscape, inside of this, you know, incredibly tense cinematic situation that's happening. And it's a tortured cry into the abyss of the survivors of this, you know, this tragedy. And what they have to go through on a daily basis in the aftermath of that. It's unbelievable. I think it's one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. And I don't think very many people have seen it. So I highly recommend it. It's not boring. You might think, it's some foreign movie, blah, blah, blah. No, man, it is incredibly tense. Like it's not violent either or anything. It's just good, tense filmmaking that's also deeply thematic and interesting. So Quo Vadis, Aida.
Their tanks are getting closer and closer by the hour.
We are doing everything we can. Aircraft are on standby and ready to launch an attack on all positions held by the Republika Srpska army.
What will happen if the planes don't come?
They will come. They will come.
Ljudi, baza je puna. Niko više ne može ući u bazu.
Brega is a safe area under protection of the United Nations.
Kao čovek, kao general, garantujem sigurnost za svakog nevinog.
Do you have your family here?
Two sons. Do you think we are safe here? The Serbs are inside the base fully armed.
What? Get uniform. Mi smo civili.
Pa s kim ratujemo 4 godine, jebem vam majku vam jebem. Sve civili.
All right, so those are our hidden gems: Quo Vadis Aida, a masterpiece, and Barb and Star.
I feel like I made a really good point about lady friendship, and now you're like, oh, mine's
a movie about the
mine's
Serbian
about genocide. Okay.
All right, so you had a couple super specific categories you wanted to go over. Give me some of your crazy categories.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking along the same lines as hidden gem, in my pick Barb and Star, here's my category. Sorry, but I had fun. This is my category where like Laura's guilty pleasures. They're not going to be critically acclaimed. I'm not claiming they should be, in the annals of history, but I had fun. And those are Old, Small Engine Repair, and Malignant.
Oh, Malignant is a good. I'm on board with Malignant for sure.
Oh, you're not on board with Old?
No.
Hater.
No, I'm a
Old
hater
was
on
fun. This is a return to M. Night Shyamalan form, I feel. So those are my picks for Sorry, but I had fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are solid. Those are solid moves. Let me think. Sorry, I had fun. What would I say? I don't know if I really had one. I think Malignant is a good pick for that, honestly. It's a
How
fun
have you
movie.
not talked about Dear Evan Hansen yet?
Is that? I'm trying not to, but
what? I thought you were gonna give it to music or something.
No. I mean,
That's your Sorry, I had fun.
Maybe it is. I don't know if I even had fun in that movie, but I do think.
Yeah,
it's
I guess
good.
you're right.
I think it's good.
Okay.
But yeah.
Here's my category for best movies to fall asleep to. This is or otherwise known as movies with a lot of bass, because I have this weird thing where I fall asleep during intense action movies. Because if there's no dialogue, I'm not interested. So I fell asleep in the year 2021. I fell asleep to the movie Infinite, Godzilla vs. Kong, Wrath of Man.
Yeah.
I also fell asleep to Green Knight. Sorry, not sorry.
Well, Green Knight's an easy one to fall asleep to. The other ones I'm a little surprised by. Although Infinite was absolutely terrible. That's my least favorite movie of the year. By a long shot.
It's a great movie to nap.
I don't actually know if it's by a long shot, but yeah, it's a bad.
Well, I had a
movie.
really lovely nap. So yay for Infinite.
Sorry if you loved Infinite. I apologize. There were some fun action scenes. Let's be real, but still.
And my last one is by Men Are Trash category.
Okay, who's in the Men Are Trash category?
I mean, Last Duel, as we've covered.
Sure.
Shiva Baby.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some trashy men in that.
For sure. And Mayday.
Yeah.
I got to find a place to put Mayday.
I see. So you weren't going to call that one out as a hidden gem?
No, not necessarily. But I enjoyed Mayday. I will give it an honorable mention in best scene.
How about this one for our you might think trashy man, but actually honorable man, Night House.
Oh, I did think about that. I did think about Night House. We'll bring up a Night House in a second.
Okay.
I got a Night House nom.
You got a Night House nom coming up.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now let's do best scene, and then we'll finish it up with best picture. So,
okay.
Give us some. Maybe I'll start. I'll start with the best scene, and here's my one of my favorite scenes. So, Malignant, just mentioned. The scene is that scene. I can't say anything more. If I say it, I will have. I know.
I didn't know we had to be spoiler free.
Well, spoiler free. I can't say what the scene is, but when you watch, okay. So, what is Malignant? First of all, let's just explain what Malignant is.
Yeah.
The body of Dr. Florence Weaver was found brutally murdered in her home this morning.
Did you know her?
No, but I saw her die. I'm seeing things. I'm seeing murders as they're happening.
Hello?
Malignant is James Wan back in masterful form, playing out trashy B horror. And it's a movie about a woman who has these sort of shocking visions of murders. and she doesn't know what's going on. And then she realizes, oh no, I'm like seeing the murders take place that like have really taken place. So I'm not just dreaming them. And that's all we can say because it has a chaotic twist. It's really fun. It's a fun twist. And
Hell yeah.
Like I got no complaints, man. Like that's a movie I would rewatch for sure.
Oh yeah.
Here's another one. We've already talked about this, so it's easy to mention. The Final Song of Annette.
Yeah, it's on my list too.
Yeah.
Sympathy for the Abyss. It's the name of the
Sympathy
song.
for the Abyss, a great song.
It's amazing.
It's the sort of the whole movie emotionally comes together in that moment. And I think it's one of the best scenes of the year.
No. I sang these words to you.
Can I forgive what you have done?
I hope that they bring true.
And will I ever forget love?
Imagination is so strong.
By deadly poison I became.
And reason's song is never strong.
Brilliant child to explain.
Imagination is so strong.
Forgive you, love.
And reason's song so faint and shrill.
To take that
I stood upon the deep abyss.
What do you have?
One that I've already mentioned is any scene with the witches in Macbeth.
Yep.
But the opening scene in Macbeth. On a lighter note, speaking of Mayday, the scene in which
In Mayday?
In Mayday, in which Mia Goth says, I made you a hero. And Anna said, you made me a psychopath. And Mia Goth screams,
I made you into a hero.
You made me into a psychopath.
It's the same thing!
Yeah, fun movie. Mayday. Yeah, so do you want to say, like, can you tell people what Mayday is about? Because I don't think anybody saw Mayday. So
Nobody saw Mayday. Okay. Grace Van Patten's character, Anna, climbs into a stove, enters a netherworld. Maybe she's dead. And finds a abandoned ship and hangs out with some ladies.
Submarine, I think.
Abandoned submarine. Yeah, it's a U-boat, right? Or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like set now. It was originally looked like it was modern time, and then now it's World War II era.
Yep.
In this fantasy world.
They have to sort of maintain the safety of their lady island by just shooting men all day long.
Yeah, they like lure them in. They're like sirens,
Yeah.
right? They lure them in. They kind of crash their boats, and then they pick them off with sniper rifles.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a strange movie. It wasn't on my top of the list, but
I loved it.
you love when ladies get it over on the guys.
I really do.
Here's another scene. Bad luck banging or loony porn. Final confrontation with the parents.
Oh my God. Yes.
So here, Bad Luck, let me just say briefly. So this is a movie that I think was on several critics' lists, but many people might not have seen. It's a Romanian film by a director named Radu Jude, who's made some other films, but mostly smaller independent films in Romania. And there's a character in the film named Emmy, who's a high school teacher. She makes a sex tape with her husband, but somehow it gets uploaded to the internet, and then it's seen by, it's like becomes viral or whatever. And she then has to confront sort of mob of angry parents who are mad about this. And that scene which is the third act of the film, is hilarious. I just think it's a really funny, hilarious, farcical, over-the-top scene. And it's obviously meant, given the contrasts of everything else that's been set up in terms of Romania's involvement with Nazis and and real serious political issues that they're dealing with, and then contrast that with, like, we're mad about some sex stuff. Like the sort of absurdity of how upset these parents are about the fact that their teacher, I don't know, the
has
teacher
a sex life.
Yeah, is a sexual being. And
with her husband.
Yeah. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, and it's a very strange movie, and so it's not for everyone. I think when we rented it from Amazon, I think it had 1 rating.
Yes.
And it was a 1.5 star rating. It had the lowest possible rating you could have. And so take this all with a grain of salt. If you're not interested in Romanian art house films, you might not like this. But if that sounded interesting, and I guarantee you that third act is quite fun.
Yeah, I would say just hang on. The first act is the woman just walking through the streets for the most part, and pictures of signs and posters and just like getting a feel for the city. It's slow. And then, I think each act got progressively better and more interesting. I wasn't quite sure what to like hang on to in the first act, but totally worth it by the end.
So there you go. Give me another scene.
Okay, here I'll ask you a question in return. I'm assuming you have a scene from Licorice Pizza in
I
here.
do.
Which scene did you pick?
I picked the interview scene with the agent.
I did too.
I mean, it's a great scene.
Okay.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were going to go with the Bradley Cooper moment, which is fun.
The Bradley Cooper. Yeah, that's true.
I didn't know if you were going to go with, do you know how much tail I get? All of it. All of it.
I mean, it's pretty much the best scene is the whole movie. Just watch Licorice Pizza. But this is a great scene. So Mary Grady is this character played by Harriet Sansom Harris, and she is just interviewing, and I guess in a way she's a casting agent interviewing Alana, and it's just hilarious. I'll play a clip.
Do you know how to horseback ride?
Yes.
Do you know how to do fencing?
Yes, I can fence.
Basketball?
Yes.
Baseball?
Yes.
Soccer?
Yes.
Any other sports or special skills that I should know about?
I studied Krav Maga.
I don't know what that is. What is Quick Draw McGraw?
It's martial arts from Israel. It's used in combat. My dad was in the Israeli army. We all know it.
So it's a form of karate, let's say.
It's more like how to use a pen to stab someone's eye out.
You're a goddamn fucking fighter, aren't you? I like that. I can see that. You come here trying to be all pretty for me, but really you remind me of a dog, of an English pit bulldog with sex appeal and a very Jewish nose.
So hilarious scene. Okay, do you have another one or what's your winner?
No, my winner's a little tongue in cheek, but I mean, I went with the scene from Night House. I went with the drinks with the colleagues at Night House.
That's interesting. Okay, so that must have resonated with you.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so Rebecca Hall plays a character in Night House whose husband has committed suicide. She's a teacher. It's the end of term. She lives in his beautiful home. He was an architect. And she's grieving, and then she feels like he feels his presence in the house. And her friends, they're not really her friends. She's a really like acerbic person. She's kind of prickly. It seems like she's got one real friend at the school and everybody else are just colleagues. And so the department goes out for drinks and they say, "Oh, you should come," to try and get her out of the house and get her out of her funk. And she is just like so aggressive and so unwilling to like play any of the social niceties that you should. And it just becomes incredibly uncomfortable until the point where somebody blurts out, "Did your husband leave a suicide note?" And then she pulls it out of her purse and reads it to them.
Yeah. Yeah. She's kind of vacillating between like, actually expressing herself, but then being sort of joking to make sure that they don't feel uncomfortable, and then making them feel uncomfortable. Yeah, the vacillation is incredibly uncomfortable.
She would she would like say something that was like honest, but like in a tone that seems joking, and then she'd go and kind of like do like a tiny smile laugh.
Yeah,
and she does it a lot throughout the movie, and it's so uncomfortable. And I love her performance in the movie. I love how unlikable she is.
Yeah. Rebecca Hall is great. I'm surprised actually she didn't get a Best Actor nom from you.
Oh yeah, that's an overlook for me.
Oh.
Okay, well I gave her Best Scene.
All right,
I gave her Best Scene. Rebecca Hall, Night House. I feel like I really enjoyed that movie because of Rebecca Hall.
So my best scene of the year is in a little movie which I have not given any other awards to, which is kind of insane given that it's my number 4 movie of the year. It is Titan. The scene is the fire truck dance scene.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't really, again, say what's going on in this film and why that scene is so amazing and hilarious and subversive. So I'll just say there's a scene towards the end of the film where Alexia, being Adrian, dances on a fire truck, and it's amazing. And that's all I can say. It's a great scene.
A bunch of firemen feel weird about it.
It's like yeah, it's sort of, that's the scene in the movie where I was like, I think I know what's happening finally. It's coming together for me.
Oh, and I was like, please explain.
Yeah, I loved it. It's great. It's just fucking hilarious. It's a hilarious scene. All right. We're at the final category.
Yep.
This is so exciting. So, Best Picture. Now, for me, the nominations are just my top 5 movies of the year. It's easy for me. So I'll just list them in reverse order, and you will be able to infer what my number 1 movie is. And and you could just do the same, right? Is that fine? I have no reason to keep us ever in suspense. They kind of can already guess.
Yeah.
So my number 5 is Red Rocket.
Okay.
My number 4 is Titan. My number 3 is Quo Vadis Ida. My number 2 is Annette. And that leaves my number 1 film of the year, Licorice Pizza.
You know who I am?
Yeah.
Do you know who my girlfriend is?
Barbara Streisand?
Barbara Streisand.
Sand.
Sand, yeah, like sands. Like the ocean, like beaches.
Barbara Streisand?
No, like Streisand.
Sand.
But the film is a sad thing, boy.
This is fate that brought us together.
But she's lived it 10 times or more.
Our roads took us here.
She could spit in the eyes of fools.
You're not my director. Do you really want to see my boobs?
Can I touch them?
I'll see you tomorrow.
I loved it. It was just a remarkable movie. It made me so happy watching it. I can't wait to see it again. That's a rare thing for me to want to rewatch a movie almost immediately after seeing it. And I suspect that it's a movie which will continue to grow in both my feelings towards it and also others. I just think it's easy to take Paul Thomas Anderson for granted.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the best filmmakers we have today. It's easy to just dismiss him as because his movies are so good that you could, to just take him for granted and just think, here's another Paul Thomas Anderson film. But we're just fortunate to have someone like this making movies at the clip he's making them. And I felt like in a way, this is a bit of a return to form in that it's returning to the kind of hangout vibes of his sort of earlier movies, and but mixing them with the more emotional and thematic depth and complexity, and in particular narrative complexity of his later films. And so in that regard, I think it's like a really wonderful synthesis of the two sides of the Paul Thomas Anderson coin. I love every performance in the movie. I love the soundtrack. And
the soundtrack's amazing.
It's just such a warm and happy movie for me. So that's why it's my number 1.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't rank my movies.
That's fine.
So I'll just give you 4 nominations and then end with my winner.
Yeah.
Licorice Pizza's on there. Spencer, House of Gucci, Power of the Dog.
Now hold on, wait. I'm trying to think, because you could not have given this movie any other awards. So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out if I can guess what it is.
We've talked about this movie, but I didn't give the award.
Wow. Hold on. I'm just trying to think.
Okay, you want to try and guess?
Yeah. Wow. I'm honestly a bit lost as far as what it could be.
I think you've just forgotten and thought I gave something to
I might have.
Red Rocket.
Oh, Red Rocket. You saved Red Rocket.
I saved Red Rocket.
Wow.
That's why I didn't give it to Simon. That's why I'm sorry, Simon. But I
That's
I
a
went Red
cool
Rocket.
pick. So Red Rocket's your favorite of the year, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to fight you. I don't give a... What the fuck?
He sucker punched me. I would 100% out cardio that guy. Fuck. Sorry for swearing. The shit got out of control. I came this fucking close to getting shot. This fucking close. The dog's like, oh, he's a good man. I can tell by his nice energy.
You're persona non grata.
Life's sweet, Sophie. Life is sweet.
I couldn't stop thinking about it. Sean Baker's so talented. I loved Florida Project. This movie was better, I think. He's starting to, weave in some allegory or message, but it's still, all about the people and character studies. He gets incredible performances out of his actors, many of whom I think, he just went to the town near Galveston and cast the majority of the film besides the leads, right?
Yeah.
Right there. And it really does have that kind of it's just like surprising that Sean Baker isn't from there. You know what I mean? Like it feels like he's telling the story as somebody who grew up in Gulf, Texas. It feels like he really knows these people, cares about them, loves them. And it's really funny. It's like a bright, colorful, beautiful movie. Yeah. I loved it.
It's a great pick. I mean, it's obviously a great movie. It's my number 5, and I think it's great that you picked it. I think it's cool. Really cool that you picked it. It's a cool movie, man. Complicated movie. Thematically and emotionally complicated.
Yeah.
Even though narratively it's incredibly straightforward. But it's yeah. Well, that's it. So let's just recap real quick. So best picture for me is Licorice Pizza.
Red Rocket, Sean Baker.
Best director for me is Leos Carax, Annette.
I gave it to PTA for Licorice Pizza.
Best actor was Emilia Jones for Coda, Simon Rex for Red Rocket.
Lady Gaga, House of Gucci, Kristen Stewart, Spencer.
Best supporting, Kirsten Dunst. Well, we agreed on this one.
Yes.
Kirsten Dunst, Power of the Dog, Catherine Hunter, Tragedy of Macbeth.
Yep.
Best writing for me was Paul Verhoeven and David Burke, Benedetta.
I gave it to Christian Petzold for Undine.
Best score, Hans Zimmer, Dune.
I gave it to Micah Levi for Zola.
That's a good pick. I
feel strong about that one.
That's like the one I did not see coming at all. For me, best scene was Titan, the fire truck dance scene.
I have Suicide Note scene, Night House.
That's also a fucking crazy pick. Anyway. And yeah, I want to just close with one other thing. So
yes.
The Oscars are coming up this, in a week. Here are the nominees for Best Picture. Okay. Now, obviously, one of these is the one we both want to win. That's Licorice Pizza. Of the ones that are nominated.
Yeah.
But Licorice Pizza, I think, stands in zero chance of winning. So my question for you, when you hear these nominations, is of the ones you think have a chance at winning, which would you want to win?
Okay.
Okay. Which would you be happy with? So here are the nominees.
And we haven't seen all of these, right?
We have seen all of these. I've seen all of these.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Belfast.
Mm-hmm.
Coda. Don't Look Up. Drive My Car. Dune. King Richard. Licorice Pizza. Nightmare Alley. The Power of the Dog. West Side Story.
Power of the Dog.
Okay. Yeah, I think Power of the Dog has a good shot. I'd be happy with that. It's hard to know what other ones. I feel like it's a little bit wide open. Because I've heard people argue that Power of the Dog, because it might get it as a legacy Oscar, but there's some thing that's like...
It's not Campion's best?
Well, no, there's some murmurings that Campion's a lock for director. And so that's the legacy Oscar in a way. She gets it for director. And then that kind of leaves open a split. Director picture split. When I think about that, I think, okay, Belfast is in the mix, right? It's Oscar baity. It has all the checks all the boxes. Coda is in the mix.
I don't feel like has there been any buzz around Nightmare Alley?
No.
Yeah.
So and then Power of the Dog, and I guess I agree. But you know what? I'd also be happy with Coda. I have nothing against Coda.
I remember when people were like, "Oh, Coda has Oscar buzz," and I was like, "Really?" Because that movie is just sort of formulaic and straightforward. Obviously, we don't see a lot of deaf actors on screen. That's very cool.
I like that. And that's the other reason why it has a real shot, I think, is there's a
Yeah.
representation thing going on
Yeah.
where, you know, Troy Kotzer, I think, is going to get that in supporting, but like, I think a lot of times they think about the Academy thinks about what it's going to be like to have, because they all go up, right? It's not just the producers,
Yeah.
the whole cast up there and all, you know, the deaf acting, you know, actors and everything up there, you know, clapping along. And it just, that it was going to be a really cool moment if
Sure.
that happens. And, you know, granted, yes, it will be great to see Jane Campion up there twice for Power of the Dog and to see, you know, Benedict and Plemons and Kirsten and you know, but I kind of like, I think maybe in my heart, I'm like, I kind of want Coda to win. I don't know.
It'll be a happy one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
for
don't know.
sure.
But yeah, I mean, I obviously for me, it's if you know, Licorice Pizza would be the great one, but I just think they're not going to, you know, this movie was not well seen, it was not widely seen, and it didn't resonate with people the way it did with me.
It's not grand in the way that
Yeah.
some of his earlier ones that I think were more strong contenders for Oscar movies.
So there we have it. There's the first annual Blobscars. We've been doing this for a while, but it's the first time we put it on mic, got down to dirty, and tried to figure out who are our favorites, not who are
Yeah.
the best. But I mean, we watched most of the Academy movies. We were pretty
there's
much
a couple of
pretty
movies
meh on most of them.
that we have not. Yeah, I think like the movies that we still haven't seen yet that I'm desperate to see.
Yeah,
that
so
we
Worst
are-
Person in the World.
Worst Person in the World, and Souvenir 2.
Souvenir 2.
That we haven't gotten
That's
to
right.
yet.
We have not been
but
able to see
none
those.
of the other Oscar nominated movies have I been like, we gotta get to it.
Yeah,
So
there's really, I mean, yeah, those are the two that I agree with. I would have liked to see Parallel Mothers. We didn't see that.
yes.
And but other than that, I think we feel, I mean, there obviously were things we missed that will be important someday when someone will figure out and whatever. But of the ones that were getting buzz, we saw most of them. And yeah, and I think that, you know, that
It's a
takes
good
us
movie, good year for movies.
very good year for movies. I mean, every year is a good year for movies, but there's an obvious reason why this was a year which was particularly bloated with good films, and that's because a lot of stuff was delayed because of the pandemic. I'm excited for what people are going to do next. I'm excited to learn about all these new directors that we saw this year, and I'm excited to see what the established directors do next, and to see how these movies grow in estimation over time. I really think that a number of the movies that we picked, which were not getting very much buzz, you know, in the mainstream, like Red Rocket, you know, like Annette, like Licorice Pizza, my hope would be that they grow in estimation over time and that they are ones that people come back to and see again and come to find interesting things. That's my hope. I always am kind of, you know, aiming not just to think about what tickled me in the moment, but what I think will have a lasting impact. And so that was, you know, what was guiding me when I was making some of these decisions.
So that's why I was really talking a lot about Night House.
I have a feeling Night House is not going to sustain itself, but it's hard to know. I mean, I do suspect that Woman in the Window is going to become like a campy trash masterpiece at some point. That's my suspicion, is that an entire generation of people like Gen, whatever comes after Z, is going to be like, we're all about this kind of weird Netflix shit that just got shunted away on the algorithm, you know, and
Not only shunted away in the algorithm, but then the algorithm created a spoof on Netflix.
Exactly. That's why I think it has power, is that people are there's going to be like, what was the original of the thing that now we've got like 10 iterations of spoofs of? And then they'll go back and be like, no, this is I think there's going to be a reclaiming effort.
That cast is like incredibly stacked. I mean, there's a lot of talent in there. I don't think you can completely deny Women in the Window.
Yeah, Women, I quite enjoyed Women in the Window, and I got no complaints. And so, you know, I think
I got no complaints.
No complaints. So there it is.
All right, well, in conclusion, don't look into the abyss.
That's right. Thank you for listening. We are at CowsPod on Twitter. You can find us on the web at cowspod.wordpress.com. In 2 weeks, we have Katie Walsh from the LA Times and Miami Nice and various other places. She's a professional film critic, and she's going to come and talk to us about Michael Mann's Collateral.
Hell yeah.
That's going to be a blast. So stay tuned for that in 2 weeks. We'll see you then. Keyboard Cat, play us off.